Vishal.
I intend to talk on certain current trademark trends, and I will try and sort of allude to the fact that though the Trademark Act operates all India, because of the court interpretations of various provisions, there is a wide divide between, broadly speaking, the Delhi approach and the Bombay approach. The first aspect that I intend to talk on is, can the court at an interlocutory stage consider the validity or the invalidity of a registered mark? Because a registered mark stands on the register, and the question in India often arises as to whether the court at an interlocutory stage go into the question whether the mark is valid or prima facie invalid, so as to grant or not to grant the injunction. This question can arise in two broad scenarios. It can be if a plaintiff who is a registered proprietor of a mark sues a defendant. The defendant may contend that the plaintiff should not be granted interlocutory reliefs because the registration itself is invalid. Or it may be set up as a defense by the defendant where the plaintiff's mark is registered, where the defendant two scenarios. It may be set up as a defense to the plaintiff's registration, or it may be set up by the plaintiff where both the marks, the plaintiff's marks and the defendant's mark, has proceeded to registration. And if the plaintiff sues the defendant, registration, once the mark is registration, the statute registered, the statute says an action for infringement does not lie. At that stage, can the plaintiff contend that the defendant's mark ought not to have been registered? So there are two broad scenarios where this situation may arise, and where the court may be required to go behind the registration at an interlocutory stage, which is crucial in India. Everybody knows that trademark disputes are basically decided at an interlocutory stage. It just takes too long for a final hearing, 10, 20 years. So, in this context, the decision of the Bombay High Court in Lupin versus Johnson is extremely important, and it was rendered just in December last year. The Bombay approach was, until this decision, that once the plaintiff's mark is registered, at an interlocutory stage, an injunction will follow, and you cannot set up a defense that the plaintiff's mark is invalid. That was the approach consistently followed by the Bombay High Court. But then there were conflicting decisions came about, and finally this issue was referred to a full bench of 3 judges, whether the court at an interlocutory stage can go behind the registration of the plaintiff so as to grant the injunction or not. And the Bombay High Court held that if the defendant is able to establish that the registration of the plaintiff is ex facie illegal or fraudulent or shocks the conscience of the court, these 3 circumstances only will the court go behind the registration. Merely if the defendant establishes that he has an arguable case to establish invalidity, that is not enough. This distinction is important. Normally in an interlocutory stage you have to set up an arguable case. But if the defendant merely says, I have an arguable case that the registration is invalid, then the court will not consider the registration to be prima facie invalid at all. He has to go beyond that, beyond the arguable test of invalidity, to establish that the registration is prima facie fraudulent or ex facie illegal or shocks the conscience of the court. This, as I said earlier, is a departure from the past Bombay practice. But the Delhi approach has always been more liberal. And I've got examples of 3 cases over here which explain that the court at an interlocutory stage will go behind the registration. In Lowenbrough case, the Delhi High Court went behind the registration of Lowenbrough, which was registered by the plaintiff in India, and the defendant took up the argument that Lowenbrough all over the world, except India, had become generic so as to mean German beer, because both the plaintiff and the defendant used the word Lowenbrough in a generic sense all over India, or all over the world, except India. Then the plaintiff had a registration for Lowenbrough in India, and the defendant also started using Lowenbrough. So the court held that prima facie Lowenbrough registration is invalid because it was used generically all over the world. And because of the globalization of Indian economy, the fact that Lowenbrough was never used by any of the parties until then in India, it did not make it non-generic. So the court held that Lowenbrough is, internationally it is recognized as German beer only, and it was never used as a standalone mark internationally. It was always used with the product identification mark, along with that generic term. So the court refused the injunction in spite of the fact that Lowenbrough was registered in India in the name of the plaintiff. The second case is where Losop was registered by the plaintiff and the defendant started using Lo-Absorb. Once again, the defendant was able to successfully argue that Lo-Absorb, the registration of Lo-Absorb is prima facie invalid because it is descriptive. And the injunction was refused at an interlocutory stage in spite of Lo-Absorb being on the register. Then the third case is Jiva versus Ziva, where both the marks were registered. Jiva was registered and Ziva was registered for spas as a service. So when Jiva